Hey everybody, Dr. Thom with Golden Educational Consulting. I wanted to take a quick minute after this crazy week to reach out to everybody who's really thinking about school and school starting this week all across the country, and particularly where I live. A lot of new information coming out about how school is going to be starting up and all the different decisions that families have to make, whether they're going to send their child back to school full time, whether you're going to homeschool, all kinds of major decisions and anxiety and stress. And so I wanted to reach out as we're working with families, helping them through the college search. I wanted to reach out with a couple of thoughts and a couple of tips that maybe can help families as they're trying to make these decisions. An important thing to keep in mind is that, as you are going about all of navigating all of these different changes, colleges and universities are doing the exact same thing. And they're trying to understand how things are shifting and changing. Sometimes there's this notion that, colleges sort of sit there and then they decide what they want to see. And then, the people who are applying have to respond to them. In fact, it's not quite like that. In a lot of ways, colleges are trying to understand what students that are going to be applying to their schools, what are they seeing, what are they experiencing, what choices do they have to make, and how can they adjust and evolve. Okay, so you need to kind of take a breath and relax and know that colleges are going to work with you. Okay, that's an important thing. Okay, just maybe lowers the temperature a little bit. When it comes to looking at what kind of program for your students, as it relates to thinking about college, okay, let's say you're in the sort of back end of high school, okay, you're a rising junior, rising senior. I want you to focus on, I would encourage you to focus on instruction, okay, so thinking about how instruction is going to work, okay, given the various options that you're being provided, who is doing it, what is the format, when, obviously with a lot of virtual work, when is that being done, and obviously overlaying that to your student, okay? We know that, a lot of standardized testing has been hard for students in the junior and senior year to get the ACT and the SAT, and even though those organizations have said it won't be a problem, depending on where you live, it's just going to be, I think it's realistic to expect that that's still going to be an issue. Okay. So as more and more schools are moving to test optional, grade point averages are going to be perhaps a little bit more important. So understanding, number one, how will grades be calculated? Is there any change that relates to that? And obviously, focusing on students doing well in the coursework. Okay. Is going to be important. Is there a fit? Obviously, keeping in mind that students are flexible. Okay, so what is the match between instruction, the actual instruction? So really think it through in your mind, like what that instruction is going to look like. Okay, 3, as schools are moving away from using or relying on testing, standardized testing, again, because they're harder to get, holistic review is going to be more of a thing. So what is a holistic review? Holistic review is where students where colleges are looking at students and they're not looking at it in terms of a hard line and formula. They're looking at the whole of the students. So when there's not a test score there, they're looking more, again, at the grades, what kind of classes the students took. They're looking at extracurricular activities. They're looking at essays. They're looking at the whole picture. Okay, and that's a good thing. Okay, that means there's not a one size fits all. They're going to look at your student in the whole. Okay, and that's really good. That's really good news. Okay, 4th thing, encourage your students to be involved in the decision, but don't dump it on them. Okay, you are still the parent, you're still in charge, but involving them in the process is going to help them as they proceed into making that decision of where to apply to college. So thinking about how they want to learn. And being able to wrestle with that and the messiness of having to decide this is a good developmental challenge for students. But again, know where the boundary line is. And the very last thing I want to share with each of you is to take a breath. And I need to hear it too as a parent. Look, there's so much pressure about getting it right, and that there's so much riding on it. You need to understand this is one decision among many, and ultimately colleges are going to work with you. That's what the message has been for any representative from an admissions office that I have been speaking to over the last several months, is that they're responding to this too, and they're going to work with you. So let's lower that temperature, make decisions, move on, and evaluate. My favorite Maya Angelou quotes: do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. Okay, make the best decision that you can, knowing your family, knowing what's important to you, and then move on and learn. And that's what this process is about. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions for us at Golden Educational Consulting, please do reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks, guys. Take care.